Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to our continuing review of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, which started out on the 25th of February 2023 with the presidential and national assembly elections. Before the election held, we called out for the voices of Nigerian youth for these elections. And we spoke with a number of young people of Nigeria, especially the politically active young ones. And we presented before then the theme of this broadcast series, which is what will or can Nigeria youth do if the presidential 2023 presidential elections are rigged or annulled? On many of our discussions with different youth, both in group and individual, we find out that they did not want to address the issue of if the election is rigged or annulled. They probably did not understand the Nigerian political rogue elite. But we at the African Town Hall brought that forward because we know that elections in Nigeria have been nothing but a systematic criminal way to legitimize bad rulers. So the election has held, the hula baloo is everywhere, and the noises cannot stop very easily or soon. In our commitment to help the African youth find their voices, we come to you today to talk about the way forward, having found what the results of the election has become. For us, having known what a callous political rogue class that we have and what they can do, we at the African Town Hall started asking the Nigerian youth the above thematic question, which is what would they do if this election is rigged or annulled? Because all of these are things that the political Nigerian class, whether they be military or civil politicians, this is what they have done a long time and many times. And a number of Nigerian youth who came on our platform were either shy to come out openly to say what they, the Nigerian youth, would do in the event of rigging or annulment of the elections, especially the presidential and national assembly elections, or do not have a plan on hand. The elections have come, but like they say, things come and go, but this election has come, but it is not gone. Systemic irregularities that have been the practice of for decades now in Nigeria were employed to produce a result that the Nigerian youth could not believe, given their efforts and the real result they obtained on the election day. One way the Nigerian rogue political establishment has used to get away with murders and rigging on elections and on election days is to buy up the election umpire and get results that have nothing to do with the reality of the election day. They get that result announced, and in the hope that and also the knowledge that the 200 million mumu, according to Labadia, that Nigerians have become or are still becoming, will go back home and do nothing about the whole mess, which repeats itself in another 4 years in a more horrendously insulting way, as we could see from 2015 to date. Quoting our former First Lady, Mrs. Jonathan, Nigerian youth, would you keep quiet? Are you going to go home and keep quiet for another 4 years when the rogue political establishment will rob, rape, and beat you up again and steal your mandate and impose themselves upon you? The man that ran with you in this election, this presidential election, Mr. P2B, is a man you can trust to fight for what is right and for what is good for all. You can count on him to fight for this stolen mandate. The question now is, will you, Nigerian youth, keep quiet? There are countless videos and audio and text evidence of the hands of the Nigerian youth. They are in the hands of the Nigerian youth as we speak that can aid P2B in the court cases. Also, Nigerian youth should go to the election tribunals themselves with the evidence they have. If you do not come out now to join forces with a good cause, you will be sentencing yourself to experiences worse than what Nigerians have gone through in the clearly evil rulership of Muhammadu Buhari in Nigeria. Join me today as we discuss the options available to the Nigerian youth in the face of this new orgy of rape of democracy and the beleaguered people of Nigeria. Join me. Don't stay back. The enemy wins because we are not talking. The evil politicians rule because we are not saying a word. They continue in what they are doing because nobody is coming out. I assure you that if you raise your voices, they will go. Think about as a security professional, one of the things I have learned in safety and security is the fact that if somebody is under attack by a rapist and the person keeps quiet, the rape goes ahead and happens again shortly. That one is one of the things that happen. And in security, we train people that do not keep quiet on rape cases. Many of the issues that have happened in this life has shown that if there's a rape, I mean real rape, maybe by a violent, vile man of a woman, and that woman keeps quiet out of the shyness of being exposed, being talked about, that rape continues. Many cases where family members have, especially fathers, uncles, or even mothers and aunties have continued to rape young people. It has continued even when parents know and they decide to keep quiet because they don't want exposure. This is the principle. This is the system that the Nigerian rogue political class uses to keep us down. They just feel that, none of us will come out. We will want to hide. We will fear to be killed. And so we will not come out to say a thing. So they will go brazenly to do what they want to do because nobody will talk. Remember what happened in Nigeria and what has been happening in our so-called democracy, whether before independence, during independence, during the Second Republic, or even this latest one. I don't know what we call this republic, whether it is the Fourth Republic or so, but at least coming from 1999 to date, what has been going on is rape of Nigerians democratically. So you can call it democratic rape. And we have kept quiet all of these years, and this rape has continued unabated. The one that happened from the elections of 25th February 2023 is one of the most horrendous anybody can think about. At least Nigerian youth that has always been careless about what is going on in the Nigerian election came out in their numbers. They came out in every place. They voted. Two, they followed the elections. And at the end of the day, these guys were still able to brazenly rape people in the open and in the public, in spite of what is available. So this is a major problem. Nigerians must face it. There's just no way of keeping quiet and hoping that all will be well. All will not be well in a country run by bandits who call themselves politicians. There's no way. Of course, we have clear evidence of what is going on right now. The country is in a comatose. The country cannot even fund its responsibilities, basic bills. People are owed salaries. Those are even nothing again because it has been happening all through the years of political process in Nigeria. They have owed civil servants. that to them civil servants are nothing and they are not interested anymore with what happens to the civil servants. Not only that, they have continued to employ different devices, including during this election, they came up with the fact before the election, that they are changing the color of the Naira note. Who does such a heavy, serious assignment right when you have the highest and most important thing on your hand to do for your country, which is to create a transition process that is transparent, that the people can hope and believe on whoever emerges as president? And you are changing Naira note colors at that same time, causing chaos, deliberate chaos calculated to disenfranchise the people and make them weak and unable to do anything. So all of these things are simple orchestrations, and they have done it. I don't think, in my mind, we are not supposed to continue to dwell on those ones. What is important now is what we do going forward. And many young people have collected videos, video evidences. They have collected other these things that they have, information that could be used, both text, audio, and video, which can be used to go to court and clearly show the people of this country that what happened in the election day is unacceptable. All those stories, all the evidences, they are available and they are there. In due course, in this broadcast, we'll share some of them. But before then, I want to make clear one of the most important things that need to happen. That most important thing that need to happen is that the Nigerian youth, just like as you were able to come out to do this voting, to suffer, to go through hell and be beaten for the sake of this election, for it to happen, to go stand in line for many days to get your PVC and then vote. You have to continue this work to the end. Those who announced the election result brazenly said that P2B can go to court if he wants. Anybody who is not satisfied with what they have done can go to court. Of course, that is provided for in the Nigerian Constitution. Now, as I mentioned earlier, P2B is a man you can trust to fight to the end. But he cannot do this alone. The Nigerian youth must be with him for it to work out. P2B is ready to fight. Nigerian youth should come out and fight with him. For example, you all know that there's a lot of evidence that has been collected by youth in different hands, in your phones. Here are two things. One, the youth need to band together with P2B to fight for this election, the mandate. That's one. So all the evidence they have, all the experiences they have in their place that shows that this election result announced is not the real election result, is one thing that you must take part in. So all the evidence you have, protect it, make yourself available to the P2B election legal team, and then be prepared to suffer whatever it takes to, to go and make your voice heard. Remember, the whole thing that we are doing in African Town Hall is to get the voice of the young people to be heard. That's what we are doing. And we want you to get your voice out there so you can be heard. Now, we have noticed a number of people viewing this particular broadcast. We want you to leave us your comments. Let's know what you feel. Let's know what you are ready to do. Let's know what is going to happen next. Join hands here, and I would like to, as you join, I'll pull up your comments, and then it will be on stream in this video. We are happy to have Bagubasa Ali, who had just said thank you for this initiative regarding youth. Yes, the initiative is just to get the youth talking. The fact that Nigerian youth cannot speak is not considered worthy of anything. It's one of the hardest things for me to stand. I am an old man. I am, if anything, I'm part of those who are destroying Nigeria are my peers. And I do not know how I can finish my journey on this earth and go away and allow the nonsense that is happening, created by some of my own peers, to continue. We need to raise our voice right now so that we will all be able to do what needs to be done. So, Ali, please, thank you and welcome. If you have questions and other comments that can help to improve the ability of the Nigerian youth to respond to these national issues, do it. Do it for the interest of the country. These guys who are already dead on arrival are not planning for any new thing for the country. And then we also want you to come online and join and air your opinion, share the experiences you had that day, and how you and your group can contribute. And we're also glad to have Adewale Ayinde come on, share a comment with us from LinkedIn. And Ayinde said, I think the fora like this is very critical and timely for this kind of period. That is the intention, my dear brother. We want you to make a contribution in this broadcast that can help us and especially the Nigerian youth to do what they must do. Before we continue, it is my pleasure to invite on stream Comrade Ejiogu Precious. He was in our last broadcast when we were asking the Nigerian youth, if this election is rigged or annulled, what will you do? I'm sure that Mr. Ejiogu, Comrade Ejiogu will know now that our presentation that day was purely prophetic. It is because we know this country. If we do not know the country, we can't say what we are saying. We know the country. We know how it has been run all these years. And we want, the only thing that can change the status is that the voice of the Nigerian youth becomes so loud that they cannot be ignored, that they have to become contributors to what will happen. So please welcome with me, Comrade Ejiogu, to the broadcast this night, today. If you are here anywhere and you want to join us on stream, if you go to my Facebook page, or if you are in the group that we form for this, you will see a link that will bring you to the studios. Comrade Ejiogu, welcome to the studios.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You have seen what happened?
Yes.
Let's start with by thinking, what are you feeling right now?
Yeah, wow. The most interesting part of the whole thing is that I could feel the pain on how I was able to walk with an old woman while she goes to the poly unit. I escorted a lady to that poly unit and we had to trek for like 30 minutes getting to our own where our poly unit is. And unfortunately, after the whole voting process, the vote was counted and the Labour Party had about 200 and something votes for my polling unit, which APC had about 17 to 18 votes. Now, going around other polling units, I see that the jubilation, the incitement of people having the same process, we were all excited, but unfortunately, we never saw this coming. That some persons will take over the process and sabotage all Nigerians' effort, especially the youth that has come out at this particular time. So it was really a disappointment. We never saw it coming. And me personally, I felt bad. In fact, I'm disappointed in the whole entire process. Now, this has weakened, reduced my morale. Though it was predicted in this TV that what of if this election is rigged? And I can remember my last statement that then I was asked, what will I do? And I said that I am speechless. I don't know what to do till then. But now that the election, it is obvious to us that it was rigged, that some
Oh, I wonder what is happening with Precious system. If you remember, Nigeria do not have enough data power to
particular
keep
Nigeria. So we as the common
back.
citizens.
I think this is part of what we are fighting for again in this country. What the youth should rise. Data is life. Even the advertisement by some communication company make it clear that data is live. And in Nigeria, we do not have data capacity for ordinary video call or ordinary even banking services. And this is terrible. Yes, Precious, are you able to still voice, because your voice was going away because of data issues, I'm sure?
Yes,
Internet issues.
yes, I'm online now.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Now I'm sure I feel bad why after democracy, this is over 40 years of Nigerian independence, and we are not able to conduct a free and fair election. We can't even conduct a credible election, and it's really annoying. You can imagine even in my little abroad in as an institution, I school at Rivers State University, and I'm the current director of social of that prestigious university. Now, when we conduct election online, even in my institution. Now, every student in that institution have a voting pin, an e-pin, which you use to vote each of your candidates. Now, I can imagine why a country like Nigeria cannot have the database on how we can conduct election. Election can be rigged, hijacked in a country called Nigerian of Africa. It is really annoying. It is really frustrating for us, especially the youth of this generation. We have lost confidence. Totally, for me, I have lost confidence, and I know that millions of youth out there have also lost confidence in the entire process. So it's really difficult for us to now see the Nigerian that we were hoping for has been dashed. So this is not the Nigerian we prayed for. And for me, if I have a privilege, I would like to write a book, maybe titled "That Was in Nigeria." Because the Nigeria we are really living in is not the kind of Nigeria that we hope to live. There was a Nigeria that our forefathers fought for. Our forefathers had in mind that there will be a Nigeria. But for me, this is not the country that we are praying for. We are really disappointed.
Okay, that's I think it is easy to understand what is going on there. Nobody will see what has happened and be able to say all is well. Now, the question that I keep asking is that, and that is the question we discussed in that predictive broadcast before the election. What if the election is rigged? What would the Nigerian youth do? I had videos and texts and pictures that showed people ordering election officials to change figures, to throw the results they have away, to accept new results. And this information are in the hand of Nigerian youth. Precious, do you not think it would be wise to not start the fight now? At least if you remember who P2B is, he won an election. They denied him in Anambra State. He went to court and fought all the way through, got his election, finished his tenure, the 2 tenures that governors can do in a state. Now, that seems to be a man that we can trust to fight to finish. Do you not think that this is a man that the Nigerian youth will rally around? Because every youth has evidence. Even what you just shared with us is something that can be shared in a court. What do you think Nigerian youth should be doing at this time regarding, what has happened in follow-up? Because going back home is the style of the enemy. The Nigerian political rogue class, their style is, oh, let's do what we want to do. They will only shout and cry. They can't do anything. Do you not think that Nigerian youth should do differently right now on this matter? And what are your views going forward?
I feel that when I looked the principal of the Labour Party, which is the presidential candidate P2B, from his comment, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, I think he still had a lot of confidence. But for me personally, because of the whole system, how the election went through, we have lost confidence in the entire process. Whereby knowing that APC government are these government that are in charge, and they are in charge of this judiciary, that they are not advising even the presidential candidate to go to court, we have also lost confidence in the judicial system. But nevertheless, how it might be that if they actually go to court, the youth, I would advise that everybody should be calm, follow the due process. Now the due process is going to court. I read the history of the presidential candidate of Labour Party, how he fought for 3 years before he was later returned back to power, even as a governor. So I think they have asked us to go to court. They have asked the Labour Party and other parties who are aggrieved with the entire process to go to court. For me, I think that's the right channel. Every agitation, every practice, or anyone who have grudges against the entire process should follow the due process, and especially the youth. Now in a country like Nigeria, that if you want to follow, okay, let's go and do protest, let's do this, let's do that, forgetting that the
Yes.
society that we find ourselves is not civilized enough. They are not civilized enough to have allowed, if there is a peaceful process, it might be hijacked, it might be invaded by armed forces, then people will be harmed. You come to find out that it's even the poor Nigerians, those that are really suffering, are the one affected. These people that are clamoring, going from power to power, trying to oppress the poor masses are not suffering. So I would advise every youth to just pipe low, follow the entire due process. Since there is a channel for a judicial system, just like a question was asked that why the Labour Party had to contest election if they do not trust the entire process. And the same way they conducted the election without trusting the entire process, they should also go to court without trusting it. Because for me, I know that the judicial system has not really heeded any foot. It is supposed to be a home for the common man, but now it is who has the money buys them all. So we have seen that the entire process has been rigged, the election has been rigged, the entire process is being there are no more democracy in Nigeria anymore, so far I'm concerned. This is not democracy. This is not where the poor masses can air their view and say that this thing is what is bothering them. It is only few dictators that are channeled in areas of power that now gives direction on how the poor masses feels. The poor masses does not have those channels on how to express themselves. This was the only channel that we feel that could help us express our feeling even to the world. But we have come to find out that those forces that are above us never allowed even the youth voice to be heard. But nevertheless, I will advise every youth, just like myself, to pipe low. Let's follow the due process. We are going to court. Definitely, there are a lot of evidence we want to prove. All individuals, also Nigerian as a people, have evidences. So everyone on ground have evidence. Individual that want to go to court definitely should have evidence. As the Peter Obi was giving his speech, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, according to him, he said they have evidences. So when they go to court, let's see those evidences and see how best, if a right thinking judge that will be able to judge that matter will know that if they present these evidences and they are genuine, then they should be able to do what is right for a better Nigeria. Because I try to imagine Nigeria after 10 years from now. How will Nigeria be if we allow these corrupt practices to emerge? It will be so bad that in our very own eyes that democracy is being tampered with. There is no more democracy, and we are feeling it. And just like the common Nigerian man, after they have done it, so let's go home back. It has always been a practice. We see things going wrong and we just go back and relax. But this is a chance that we need to come out and say that this thing is wrong. Let's prove it right. Let's do it to the core and make sure that things are done right, so that it will not hurt us 10 years after now. And I know that in as much as should every youth is angry, just like myself is angry, I will advise everyone to calm down and see how best to follow the due process. And if God willing that we are right, I believe justice will surely come. It doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how, but I know that justice will surely come. And those that have been robbed will definitely receive healing. That's for me.
Okay, thank you very much. The one of the things I must add, and where you must put your mind, and as you speak with your peers, is to know that justice need to be asked for. If you do not ask for justice, you can't get it. And like I mentioned earlier, P2B from his antecedent is a man who will fight to finish. Once the cause is right, once it's a just cause, he will be prepared to fight to finish. Apart from, I agree with the youth being calm, not getting into the streets or breaking any law, but I believe that the law courts are still a place of recourse. I believe that overwhelming evidence, just like you mentioned, will make it difficult for a judge to do nonsense, even if he's bribed. And I have counseled many Nigerians in my situations and positions in life to say, hey, if these bad people give you bribe and you know that you're under threat of death if you do not accept for them to leave you, accept this thing and still do what you do. So these judges, even if they are bribed, they should remember that if they have what they say in the scriptures, what does it profit a man to get the whole world and lose his soul? If you get 100 million from these rogues, and then there's no place to stay, you will be kidnapped because of insecurity. There's no road to drive through. You have accident. Those judges should begin to think. These judges, they are human beings, or so I hope they are. And they are parents to children, grandparents to people, parents to people, grandparents to people who will continue to live in this country. So, as they judge, they should look at everything critically and use evidence and not money, to draw those conclusions. In this hope, we at the African Town Hall are looking forward to the possibility that the Nigerian youth will band together, get all the evidence they have. Wherever they are, they will tell the P2B group that, hey, we have evidence. Look at what happened in our presence. And then they should be prepared to be in that court, not to stay away. We have gone so much complaining about hunger and difficulties. And because of that, we have lost every chance to be able to do anything to help ourselves. So even if you cannot go to bring evidence, raise your voice. And that is what we are doing in this place in the African Town Hall. We are raising our voice. And all of you that come to join with us are raising their voice to ensure that the right thing is done. Mr. Ali is making further contributions, which you just shared on screen, and he says the African continent goes through regular troubles, and these troubles are mostly related to politics. Election periods are painful periods for the African population. The blood of innocent victims is shed for a just cause, but the concerned, those who are in search of power, go away without any danger, including their wives, their children, etc. But it is the poor innocents who perish. Dear young Africans, Africa is ours. Let's vote those who we think will lead us, who we think can lead us. And even if, let's see if we'll see the rest of that, even if, okay, it has passed the bar line here, but whatever it is, the important message that Ali is passing here is that the Nigerian youth cannot sit back again. And I agree totally with him about that. We cannot sit back again. And I would like Nigerian youth who would like to come online to please go ahead and come online now and speak. Let me share an invitation for those on LinkedIn so that they can be able to join me here if they wish to make their own comments by their own mouth. And I'm sharing a link to these studios on the comment box of LinkedIn. So those on LinkedIn can, on the comment box, so those on LinkedIn can follow it and be able to join us. So if you go to the comment link, you will see a link that I've just shared, which will enable you come join us in case you want. Even those on YouTube and so on and so forth, from every means where you can find your way to the studios. If you click on that link, you'll be right here with me, and we can pull you up and you say your words by yourself. It is important that we note that these things we are saying are not going for nothing. They are critical. They are important. Like I mentioned earlier, If a woman is being raped and she keeps quiet, she will be raped again. And because Nigerians have been raped continuously, in fact, the whole Africa continuously, and we are all keeping quiet, that's why this rape is continuing. If we speak up, the rapists will run. If we speak up, the law will catch up with the rapist. So the Nigerian youth must use the chance of this election to speak up. Whatever evidence you have, share it. Get it, raise your voice until the court will say you should come and testify. You provide the hard evidence that you have. So once those evidence are all available, they will be so overwhelming from what we have seen that no judge will stay alive if they should rule against those evidence. Like Ali mentioned, all the things that happen in the effort for Africans to elect a leader causes many people to die, especially innocent people. But nothing usually happens to the politicians, their children, their wives, their concubines, if they stay safe. And then the poor people continue to suffer. Now, I want to ask a question. Is that something that can be changed? Can it be changed? Is there a chance that at some point Africans will ensure that all politicians are held accountable for any mess they make around our polity? As they come, the last time there was the election in Uganda, and Bobby Wine, that's the guy named the popular social name of this guy. He's a socialite and a musician, an artist. So his name is Bobby Wine. He contested the election, and the President Museveni was said to have told young Ugandans who want to contest election, who want power, to go and fight a civil war first before they can come and have a chance to win, to run for election. Now, if they're asking them to go and fight a civil war first, then they have already given you the invitation. What else are the youth waiting for than to tell these politicians that we cannot continue in whatever language you know? We cannot continue in what is going on. We have this comment too from Abia, Peter Abia. He writes, we keep asking ourselves why Africa is not in the forefront of technological advancement, medical advancement, etc. Politics have made that almost impossible. Nigeria claims to be the giant of Africa, but we barely can support our very own needs. The last general election just shows that Nigeria is backward in its political journey. Peter, you could not have put that more properly. You just put it very perfectly, and that is the situation. Politics is what has ruined Nigeria. Politics is politicians generally is the problem. If we can take our minds to the book written by one of those small books that Chinua Achebe wrote towards the period as he was aging, he wrote The Trouble with Nigeria. He talked about different things about the trouble with Nigeria. He talked about the fact that Nigerians, even though we come from different tribes, have connecting points. We have places where we can use in reaching out to one another and connecting. Nigerians are not wicked to one another, but the people who create wickedness, who create problems in Nigeria, are the politicians who use divide and rule, buy and sell, to take things away from the Nigerian, make it difficult for Nigerians to connect. Now, again, in that book, he made it clear that the problem with Nigeria is leadership. I know that followership have not been very vibrant in fighting, and this is what we have inviting through this medium. And the people who should be fighting are the young ones. These old people are already connected. Remember, when they were talking about analyzing P2B, the opposition was analyzing him. They say, oh, P2B can't win an election because he has no structures. What structures? The real way to win an election is by the vote of the people, not by structures. Any winning by structures is corruption. If the only way you can win an election is because you are connected or social persons are you are behind you, that means you have godfathers you are going to pay for. Use the Nigerian money, the national resources to settle. And that is not what we need in Nigeria. These structures, as P2B put it, are structures of corruption, structures of rigging, structures of insecurity, structures of poverty. That's what these structures are produced for Nigeria. And we cannot continue to use those structures as a strategy for election. Every day we continue to use structure, it is only rigging that it can do. And then those structures only protect those who rig. The structure doesn't help you win election because it is the people that will vote. If you check the Nigerian election, and that is why we at African Town Hall made the brokers we made with young people on the just before the election. What if they rig this election? What will you do? What if they annul it? The reason is that we know what they do with these elections. These people will only come. Of course, if somebody knows the job, he doesn't need to buy anybody. He doesn't need to pay anybody to get elected. He doesn't need to pay anybody to announce him in an election. It's those who can't do the job who are buying their way to it. And Nigerian youth, that's the people I'm interested in. Nigerian youth must clearly make a statement that says, no, we are no longer buying and selling. Now, I know that a number of youth, young people, in fact, a Nigerian vibrant youth who ought to be people talking about being in power today told me, hey, my friend, I voted for Tinubu, but Tinubu is not in fact, he can't win this election. The election is being won by P2B by what I've seen. And then when he saw all the Nigerian mago going into the counting, he cried out to me again. He said, hey, that they have started that thing again, that now the election, they are going to rig it, that P2B is winning, but that he sees that they are going to rig it. Now, the point I'm making with that is, here is a person, he did not even vote for P2B, but he saw rigging coming, he started shouting. And the point what that drives down is, structures is not the way to win election. The structures are only used to rig election. When they rig, they can say, okay, after all, the whole North and the whole Southwest are together. How could you win election against them? And that was the position that El-Rufai brought, where he was talking that P2B doesn't have structures to win election, therefore he can't win. He said the 90-something% of all the registered voters are in the North and the Southwest. So how can P2B win? I mean, that is the worst kind of comment anybody who has brain of a human being should make. That looks like what a donkey will say, because it is a lie. It is not true. So okay, we continue to get comments, and we would like to raise each comment to the bar so that everyone can see it. Peter Abia adding more, he said, politicians to be held accountable. For politicians to be held accountable, we must remove the immunity that is attached to their various offices. The entitlement that's attached to the office need to be reduced or removed. The truth is, our politicians sees the public office as an avenue for cash out, rather than an opportunity to serve those who voted them. The truth is, the real jokes is on we, the masses. We have allowed ourselves to be used as pawns in their games. This is the truth of the matter, and this is what we want to see, that it should stop. It should stop by raising the voices of the Nigerian youth. In fact, African youth. The target at African Town Hall is the whole Africa, beginning with Nigeria, because as Nelson Mandela said, the black man will never be respected anywhere in the world until Nigeria gets its right. Africa physically, Nigeria physically, population-wise, landmass, vegetation is the real deal when it comes to resources, human and material. Now, these have been misused, and as Abia put it, these politicians only come to use us, use elections to wool us, cover our eyes, and take what they will need to take. Precious, do you have any response to the comment that Peter Abia and Mr. Ali and others have made in this screen? Would you like to make a comment on them? Precious, would you like to make a comment on what Mr. Abia and Ali has wrote in their comments?
Yes. I'm trying to unmute myself.
Okay, do it again. You are muted. Okay, I think you are still muted. Let me unmute you and see if it will work. Okay. You are good.
Okay, it has been unmuted.
Yes.
Okay. I think it is unfortunate that we are at this stage. You know, it is a point that someone has gone to a distance and now find out that he's on the wrong track. That is the stage of the Nigerian people now. There is a particular trend that we have always been trending, where we attach religion, we attach tribalism, we attach sentiment to Nigerian politics. In that regard, we start forming caucus in order to protect our own. And at this point that we are now, we have gone so far. We now notice that the trend, the road that we are going is actually the wrong direction. Yes. It is removing immunity from office is actually not the issue. The issue we are having now in the Nigerian system of government is that we have left some certain persons at that particular position. Now they now feel that it is an entitlement. I can imagine. I just was discussing with a friend, and I said that how can someone be a member of a House of Representatives for 16 good years? 16 good years. That means after 4 years, he was re-elected. The next 4 years that means he conducted election. He participated in an election 4 good times, 16 good years. Election through rigging, and the youth, we are all clapping for the person because of this person is part of our own tribe.
Yeah, that is the
system we found ourselves.
Precious, wait there. That's what Abia is saying.
Yes,
that's what Abia is saying. Abia is saying they see the office as a place to cash out. They are not looking at service. They are not interested in what Nigerians are doing or what Nigerians need. They are merely using the process as a place to cash out. That's what Abia is saying there. I think both of you agree on that point. Now if the different things, maybe they say the remuneration or the allowances are reduced and made basic, maybe these people will go and then feel that they shouldn't continue to struggle and then give way for others to come. So I think the point here is clear. They do not see politics as an opportunity to serve anybody. They only see an opportunity to serve themselves. Okay. Thank you. You can, if maybe you round up your comment on that. Let's proceed. Yeah.
That is okay. So now that is it. They are not interested in human capital development. For good 16 years, a senator or a House of Rep member or a governor will be on seat. There's no human capital development. It's just like I was discussing with a friend that I said, the governor have done enough flyover. He has done 15 flyover. He has done this. Out of this whole project that he's doing, can you please point out one of the projects that can enhance human capital development? That is one. Now, you are talking about the flyovers, what the governor have done. Then abi, is there any project that tomorrow, as a governor or as a House of Rep member or as a senator has been there? This is what I am achieved as a human capital. Now, in every economy, the best legacy you can leave on ground is to build human capital development. That is the first thing. If you are able to build the people, then you can build the community and you can build the society. But rather they feel that what are they empowering the people on? They just look for can you build one story building, they call a construction company, give it 20 billion naira quote and that is all. Now, after you have done this, people that are coming to possess that thing, well, do they have those capacities? So the country, we have gone far and we have found out that the trend down which we are going is actually the wrong direction. That is our problem now. Now, going back again is we are looking at the distance that where we are coming from and where we are going. Where we are going is the wrong direction, and where we are coming from, we have made a lot of mistakes. That is the problem. And we are trying to see how best that we can do this. Now, we have already given some few persons autonomous power. Now our voice no longer count. That is the major problem, especially in this part of the country. And we are failing bad for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. Thank you. I think one of the things that is clear and the real central purpose of today's broadcast, which we are glad to have many people attend to, have many people leave comments from LinkedIn and your other media, is the election has been held, and just like we feared at the African Town Hall, where we asked Nigerian youth, what will you do if the presidential election is rigged or annulled? Now, the popular voice is that the election is rigged. That the election is rigged. So, if the election is rigged, then the Nigerian youth need to activate level 1 or level 2. So, in activating level 1 or level 2, level 1 is, okay, the election has come, it's not gone. In other words, nobody should go back home as used to be the case with Nigerian elections. And this is what gives the politician, the rogue politician, the audacity to do what they are doing. Nobody should go home. The election is not over. The presidential election 2023, National Assembly election 2023, February 25th, 2020, is not over, even though the results have been announced. So every young Nigerian should resolve that in their mind and keep it there. That is why we are here today. Number two is that it is the Nigerian youth who conducted the elections in different locations. There are none of these dead septuagenarians and whatever age, these dying men who are contesting. There's none of them who were at the election booths. None of them were at the voting centers, or even the send agent to the collation center. Their family were not there. Just like Abia said, when these things happen and people are dying, it is usually the ordinary people that die. So it is the youth that were out there. I saw a video from Rivers State where they accused the governor of sending military and police to go and flog UCOPers who are conducting the election, making them do frog jump because they didn't obey the rigging process they brought. Now, those evidences are there. Those young people are there. The young people, the next stage, the second one is that the young people should gather as much evidence as they have and demand to be witnesses in the court. This one, don't wait to be invited. Demand to be witnesses in the court. Remember, we are working on the premise that this election is not over. It's not over yet. So let us work on this premise and then go ahead and gather all the evidence we have, test it, check it out, and then demand to be witnesses at the tribunals. Because I believe very strongly that there's no bribe they will give a judge. And when the evidence is so overwhelming, he will go ahead and judge nonsense. Of course, the next level is how come, and I don't have answer to that one. And Abia asked that question, made that comment. Other people asked that question. Every time the elections happen, only poor people go to die. They kill them, they march on them. As Labaja will say, he say Nigerians are 200 million mumu, subsidy them, they will not say anything. Kick them, beat them, put them in the mud, kill them, they say nothing. Now, this time, the how come? That's the question Abia asked, and I want to raise that question up in the stream. How come that every time it is the poor people that will die, and then these politicians won't die? Their children will not die. Their wives will not die. How come? Things need to start to begin to change in the country. If we continue to lose it, in fact, one thing that Nigerian youth should even fear most is not dying. What they should fear most is having Buhari repeated for another 2 years, even 1 year, because that's what Tinubu's government will be, a worse part of Buhari's government. Now, that one is enough suffering. And I would like to call on Nigerian youth to know that, one, the election is not over. Two, they can decide to go and give evidence in court. And then we will all move on from that point. Precious, would like to wrap up now. Do you have a final word for today? Oh. Do you have a final word for us today, Precious? Let me unmute you. Your data is struggling. That's a Nigerian thing. We can't even get data right. They say data is life. And if we don't have data, that means we have no life. I think Nigerians need to understand that. If data is life, please unmute yourself, Precious. Though your data is struggling, I'm not able to see your picture well here. But go ahead and unmute yourself, so that if you have final words, you can add, or you can leave your final words as a comment in the stream. We are going to bring our broadcast today to a close. Please do not forget what we said about what we are up against. What we are up against is a terrible political group. Yeah, Precious, unmute yourself. Terrible political group who are willing to do anything to disenfranchise us, to keep us in perpetual poverty, to continue to steal and rape the national treasury and rape all of us. And this cannot continue. We have many people coming on stream in this broadcast from YouTube, our YouTube channel, the African Town Hall. Please leave your comment. Share this video with your friends. We want it to go as far as possible so that many Nigerians can see it, hear us, hear the invitation we sent, to know that the election is not over and that they can play a big role in the court. Precious, any final words in a minute? Oh, we can't hear you. You are muted. It's just that maybe the internet or something. Okay, go ahead. I think we can hear from you now.
Okay, I feel the Nigerian youth should be patient. It is not business as usual. Why if election are being rigged, they will just go back home and just stay. I think we should fight it to the last. We definitely will fight it, but we'll fight it legally. And I know that in as much as
Oh, you're muted again. Can you unmute yourself? Unmute yourself. Okay, while Precious is trying to unmute himself, we got an additional comment from Mr. Peter Abia, and he said Nigeria's current political situation is like the case of an Olympic athlete who is running toward the opposite direction of the track. Tell me how such an athlete will win the race. Africans keep electing and appointing the wrong people into the right offices. We make ourselves a point of joke, and at the end of the day, we pray for God's intervention. God will never do for human beings what human beings can rightly do for themselves. Perfect truth, my dear brother and friend. Perfect truth. That is why we are making this call. That's why the African Town Hall is out here inviting the youth to know that this election is not over, and we cannot continue to have this nonsense continuously. We cannot continue to run in the opposite direction in a race. That's what it is when you elect people who are already dead. You know, their time has passed. Even if they are not dead, they have good health. But at the age of 70, 80, and some of these people are already 90 something, but they are pretending to be 70. But whatever it is, the Nigerian youth has 60% of the population effectively in their own numbers. The registered voters, according to the European Union, not even me or somebody guessing from elsewhere, but the European Union that even paid for some of the registration exercises by sponsoring the Nigerian system. They said that this particular registered voter, the one available in Nigeria as we speak, has more youth than any other demographic in Nigeria. So this is Nigerian youth, this is your cause, this is your case. I agree with Precious. We are not going to become violent. No, we shouldn't do that unless it is absolutely necessary. But violence should be left where it is. But all the evidence you have, because you have the evidence, put them together. And don't wait to be invited to court. Go to court yourself and tell them that you want to give your evidence. I know that the legal team of the contestants who come to challenge this election will be happy to welcome any young person or anybody at all who has evidence of the irregularities in this election, and especially of the fact, which I can stand by any means to say, that the result of the election is not the voting result, the result of the votes cast in Nigeria on the 25th of February. That one is clear to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. It is just that these guys have known how to brazenly insult us by declaring whatever they like, knowing that the highest we will do is to shout, but we will go back home and do nothing. Nigerian youth should be that one, that there's nothing like going back home and doing nothing. We would like to express gratitude to all those who were able to come and view today's broadcast. This campaign will continue until the wrong of 25th February 2023 is righted. Until it's righted. Personally, I even believe this is just my personal conjecture. I even believe that Tinubu knows what is going on. They just said, just declare me. He paid them, they declared him. I know they will go to court and take it, but declare me so that at least I'll be president, even for 2 days. That's what I feel. Because, I mean, who could crack this kind of joke on a living people? You are leaving people, or are we just the 200 million mumu that Labaja called us? He said Nigerians are 200 million mumu. Subsidy them. They won't do anything. Kick them. They won't do anything. Kill them. Put them in the mud. Whatever you do to them, they will only say, praise the Lord, instead of going out and fighting for what is right. So the 25th February 2023 election is not over. Everybody should wake up to that. And everyone who has evidence should bring it, package it, keep it steady. As soon as the courts open their door, don't wait to be invited. Declare your interest to testify with the evidence you have. This is how we can write what we have on ground today. And this is all we take for this broadcast. And we thank Precious for coming out openly to give his voice, both his personal comment on the charade that is called the result of the election, and then on the comments he made on the comment that other people left who were viewing from different channels. Please, we want you to join our YouTube channel. The name is the African Town Hall. And also go to our Facebook channel page, which is the African Town Hall also. Like it, follow our programs and broadcasts, and make comments and ask burning questions. Your questions can be the next topic for our broadcast. And let me say to all the young people of Africa who may hear me from here today, you are one interview away from being popular, from being important, from being a person to be noted. Just one interview away. So make yourself available to appear at our channels so that we can interface with you and allow your voice to be heard so that people will know what is in your head, because that is going to make a lot of sense. Thank you very much, everyone. Do have a great and pleasant day. And please keep your mind open. The elections are not over yet. And maybe, but I'll come with a new program on this. But regarding the governorship elections and House of Assembly elections, the youth can go and make the statement again. It is easier to manage that one because youth from each state can follow their own to the last minute. And before they will send anybody from federal level to destroy what you've done, you would have obtained your result. But we are going to speak on that just before he hosts by, is it this weekend or next weekend? When is the next election? The governorship election coming, Precious? When is the governorship election coming? Okay, we can't hear Precious. Maybe the problem with the system, which I know is because of poor data levels, are continuing, and we will find that date. We will come to you. We will prepare your minds on what to do. No more going back. That's the question. And thank you very much for being here with us. Please view our channels and leave your comments. Do have a blessed day.
The next election is on the 11th of March.
Okay, beautiful. Peter Abia says it's you are Precious too. You see, on the 11th of March. So Peter Abia, thank you very much for staying to the end and also for supporting this broadcast with your comments.
That should be 11th of March. I think that should be next week Saturday. Next week Saturday, yes.
Perfect. We'll be on air to help advise the youth on what to do on that day. Please do not stay demoralized. Do not you've not lost it yet. Even the presidential election, you've not lost it yet. You won that election, you've not lost it. And then the following future elections, we will all talk about it in due course and make plans on the best way to go forward. Thank you very much, everyone, and do have a blessed time.